Today's video is on algebra vocabulary and a little bit of an introduction to some of the algebra we're going to be doing this year. So hopefully you have your notes sheet out. There is a lot of vocabulary today, so we're going to get started with that. Our learning target is I can solve variable problems. Make sure you also write down the date. Then write down what you already know. What do you know about variables from your prior learning in elementary school? Do you know what a variable is? Do you know anything about what algebra is? Anything you know about variables or algebra, that will be your I know. Moving on to our vocabulary. Our first word is number sentence. A number sentence is a math problem. It uses numbers, operations, and variables. So anything that you would call a math problem or that you would see and you'd go, oh, that's math. Usually that is a number sentence. It might have numbers, it might have operations like add or subtract, and it might have variables like x, y, etc. An expression is a number sentence, so basically a math problem. It has numbers and symbols, but it does not have an equal sign. So for something to be an expression, it cannot have an equal sign. And then an equation is a number sentence that does have an equal sign. That's the difference between an expression and an equation, and that's an important difference. Expressions do not have an equal sign, equations do. Then we come to variable. A variable is a letter that represents a number. So when you see a math problem that has x's or y's or any other letter in it, that would be a variable. And we can use any variable we want, any letter we want to be a variable. And then our last vocab word is solution. A solution is a number that makes an equation true. Okay? So, write these down, and then when you're finished, pause the video to finish writing all of this stuff down, and then when you're done writing it down, you can restart the video again. Okay, so hopefully you're done writing all of that down. So we're going to come down to using variables. Okay, let's say that I gave you a variable and I said that the variable n equals 8. Okay, so this here, in this case, the letter n is my variable and n equals 8. That is my number sentence. In this case, it's an equation because it has an equal sign. Okay? So if I have n equals 8, and then I gave you the problem, n minus 4. This one is another number sentence. This one is an expression, okay? So what I would do if I have n equals 8, and I know that, and I'm asked to solve the problem n minus 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number 8, and I'm going to fill it in for the n there. So instead of n minus 4, I'm going to replace the n with the number 8. I'm going to do 8 minus 4. And that gives me the number 4. And that's my answer. So when we're solving problems with variables, a lot of times we're going to be given a expression or an equation with a variable. And we're going to be told what number to use in place of that variable. So let's do another example. Okay? Let's say I asked you to solve the problem m plus 4. And I told you that m equals 3. Okay? So to solve this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to take this 3 and we're going to replace the m with the number 3. So instead of m plus 4, I'll have 3 plus 4. And that gives me the number 7. Okay? Here's another example. Let's say I gave you the problem k times m. And I told you that K equals 7 and M equals 11. In this case, we have two variables, but we can still do the same thing. We'll replace the letter K in my expression with the number 7. And we'll replace the letter M with the number 11. So that's going to give me 7 times 11, which will equal 77. Okay? So that is basically how we use variables in a problem. If we are given a problem or an expression or an equation, such as K times M, and then we're given values for the variables, we're just placing those numbers in the problem in place where the variables were, and then solving the problem. Okay? Our next section is turning verbal expressions into number sentences. So a verbal expression, that's a sentence. So for example, the sum of a number and 7, that is a sentence. We want to turn this into a number sentence. A number sentence is a math problem. So instead of saying the sum of a number and 7, we want to turn this into a math problem. So when I solve these problems, the first thing I like to do is figure out what the words in this mean. So for example, I see the word sum. Well, I know that sum, that means to add. I also see the number 7. Well, that would be the number 7 in my math problem. And then the last thing I see is this where it says a number. And anytime you see the words a number in a verbal expression, that means that this is going to be a variable. We can use any variable we want. So for example, let's say we use the letter V. So now I know that in my math problem, I'm going to have a plus sign, I'm going to have a variable, and I'm going to have the number 7. So when I go to write this number sentence, I know I have a V, a plus sign, and a 7. And because I see that it's addition, so it doesn't matter what order it's in, then this is my answer, V plus 7. That's it. Okay? Remember, if you need to pause, if you need to rewind, if you need to rewatch this, then you can do that to make sure you understand. Our next example is the product of a number and 7. So if you want to try to pause and see if you can solve this problem on your own, go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, we're doing the same thing. We are trying to figure out what this math problem is going to look like. So I look for words that tell me what's going to go into this math problem. So I see the word product. Well, product means multiplication. I see a number, so I need to pick a number. Let's pick the number P this time. You could pick any letter you want. And then I see the number 9. So I know that my math problem is going to have a multiplication. It's going to have the letter P in this case I chose. If you chose a different letter, that's just fine. And it's going to have the number 9. So I'm going to write, okay, well, I have P times 9. And in math, we really like to put, for multiplication, letters behind the numbers. So we're just going to write it, to use better grammar, as 9P. That's my answer. Okay? Again, if you want, you can pause this video and do the next problem. The difference of 12 and a number. So for the difference of 12 and a number, again, I'm looking for words that mean something. So hopefully you've already tried to solve the problem on your own and pause the video and are back. And so now we're going to do it together. Difference I see means subtract. I see the 12, that's the number 12. And then a number, that could be any letter I want. This time, I'll pick the letter A. You could have picked B or C or D or S or Q or whatever letter you wanted. I'm going to pick A this time. Okay, so I'm going to have a subtraction I'm going to have the number 12. I'm going to have a variable. So I'm going to write 12 minus a. Subtraction, the order does matter. In this case, it's 12 and a number. So I'm going to be writing 12 minus a, but you're going to have to read subtraction problems and make sure you put the numbers in the correct order. Last one is a number divided by 3. Again, if you want, you can pause this and solve it on your own. Well, I'm going to solve it now. A number, I'm just going to pick the letter n for my variable this time. Divided by looks like that. And 3. So here I have n divided by 3. Again, division, the order matters. But it says we're going to do n, and it's divided by 3. So with division, normally you just put them down in the order they're written in the problem. So my answer is n divided by 3. If you have any questions about this video, please let me know. You can send me a text or a phone call or an email or a Schoology message. Have a great rest of your day.